Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Monday, the 27th of January, 2020. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to the English edition of Ora News. My name is Christopher, bringing you the only update of the local Albanian news translated into English. U.S. Ambassador Yuri Kim was in the presidency today to present her credentials. President Ilir Meta, in a Facebook post, once again underlined that the U.S. remains a strategic partner and is irreplaceable for Albania. I was pleased to receive the letter of credentials of the new U.S. Ambassador, Ms. Yuri Kim. The U.S. is a strategic partner and irreplaceable for Albania. Together, we can successfully meet the challenges that the country has. God bless the Albanian-American friendship. The U.S. Ambassador arrived in Tirana on January 22nd, 13 days after taking the oath at the U.S. State Department. The following day, through a post on Facebook, she expressed her commitment to make the most of this mission. I am honored and pleased to be part of Albania and ready to begin my work here. The rain in Tirana did not stop the enthusiasm of U.S. Ambassador Yuri Kim to start working in the capital. At noon, she delivered a speech to the Albanian people, emphasizing that the United States of America is committed to helping Albania become an even stronger and more capable ally. The nearly 10-minute English language talk ended with a message in Albanian saying, "We are by your side." Few friends have embraced America more warmly, few allies have been more loyal, and few partners have the willingness to do more with the U.S. than Albania. I am honored to be here today in front of the U.S. Embassy building, where its foundations were laid back in 1929. 100 years ago, President Wilson raised his voice for Albania when no one else did. He did not allow the great powers to divide Albania at the Paris Peace Conference. The U.S. president used U.S. power to support an independent Albania. As everyone knows, after World War II, our governments took two different paths, but even when the governments did not know each other, our peoples continued to hold on to each other. The spark of hope quickly engulfed all of Albania, and we stayed with you in 1991 as you rid the chains of dictatorship and communism. We have stood by you since backing your successful entry into NATO in 2009, and now your efforts to join the EU. Today, we stand with you not only in support of Albania's freedom and sovereignty, but also in support of Albania's future. We know there are hard jobs ahead, but we also know that hard work is easier when you have friends and allies by your side. The U.S. is committed to helping Albania become an even stronger and more capable ally, and the U.S. is committed to helping Albania strengthen its EU bid. We will continue to support the steadfast aspiration of the Albanian people for freedom and justice and for a system where everyone has to abide by the same rules, the ambassador added, stressing that she was looking forward to working with Albanian leaders as they took the difficult but absolutely crucial steps needed to implement justice reform to prosecute organized crime and remove corruption in the Albanian justice system. Let there be no doubt that the U.S. values Albania as a true ally, partner, and friend. As we stayed with you in 1920 to 1991, 1999, and 2009, we will stay with you again to support your future as a prosperous democratic country in the European Union. As I greet you on this wonderful day, despite the rain, I want to say once again, we are by your side. Thank you very much. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has been welcomed in Berlin. Prime Minister RTV Ora, who accompanied by Talent Bala and Construction Minister Arben Ahmetaj. The focus of discussions was the bilateral relationship in the donor conference to be held in Brussels on February 17th to assist our country in the reconstruction process. The topic of the roundtable was the Albanian leadership of the OSCE and the issue of negotiations. Prior to the face-to-face meeting with Rama, Merkel said she would seek the start of talks on Albania and Northern Macedonia at an EU summit in March. I am glad that today we can talk about bilateral relations at the meeting, which will also have the opportunity to remember the November 26 earthquake in Albania. Many people have lost their lives and homes, and over 50 people their lives. I am delighted that the Commission has sent out invitations to a donor conference and that Germany will attend. The cooperation and readiness in the region for assistance has been impressive. However, this was a serious blow for Albania. We will talk about Albania's economic relations and the course of reforms. Many things have been achieved for the reform of justice system, and it must continue in this way to be concluded. Reform is central to Albania's future. The German federal government adheres to the perspective of Albania and the entire Western Balkans in the EU. We want these countries to be closer to the EU, and above all, we want to reach an agreement at the next Council of Europe meeting in March on the start of the accession negotiations with Albania and Northern Macedonia. Both countries have significant successes, and we will work hard to achieve the results in March. The future of the two countries is also in the EU, and this is our new interest. The European Union wants to have a committee that will also aims to emphasize a geopolitical dimension and gives us more chances to move this process decisively, Merkel said. It is very important that a clearer geopolitical dimension of the Commission will be of great help to the whole region, said Rama. At the end of 2019, the German Bundestag demanded that Albanian politics produce real results in terms of economic reform, the functionality of the Constitutional Court, and the resolution of the political crisis. Opposition and majority representatives Damian Gjiknuri, Werd Bulikbashi, Rudina Haidari, and Petrit Vasili, together with their respective experts, held today's meeting on electoral reform. The meeting ended at 12 o'clock, coming to terms on the work of calendar and methodology. The British ambassador who facilitated negotiations between the parties and EU Deputy Ambassador Monica Bailate were also present as observers. We are observing the first working group meeting on electoral reform, bringing together politicians and experts from the majority and opposition for talks for substantial reforms. Duncan Norman wrote on Twitter, the political parties have pledged that the electoral reform should be completed no later than March 15th this year. Speaking to reporters, co-chair of the Electoral Reform Commission, Damian Gjiknuri, said those in the meeting discussed the work plan and deadlines. A number of issues have been listed that are the subject of the work of the electoral reform system, including some concerns raised by the opposition. Issues that they consider very specific, let me come up with them, their own proposals. By March 15th, this work should be completed. I wish to find a consensus on the hotspots. I look at March 15th as a very ambitious and very difficult time period, but it is a good starting point for this table. There will be, if necessary, interference with the Constitution, not just the Electoral Code. I wish we had consensus on these issues. Today, we adopted the electoral reform agenda with today's document and the methodology that paves the way for concrete work to discuss and improve electoral reform proposals. The opposition has concrete proposals, Bulikbashi said. And finally, representatives of health institutions have reported to Minister Ogerta Manastirliu about the precautionary measures taken against the coronavirus, which has caused dozens of deaths in China. They emphasized that controls have been increased at border crossing points, while isolated facilities have been created in hospitals for potential cases. Although without a confirmed case, the Minister of Health, Ogerta Manastirliu, has assembled a task force to take precautionary measures against the coronavirus. By special order, I have requested that precautions be taken to increase surveillance and identify the degree of risk. From the last report I have, Albania remains a low-risk country in terms of coronavirus penetration from China. We have emergency plans in place. The measures are in coordination with the World Health Organization. We have taken appropriate measures at Rinas Airport. We have a very good surveillance of respiratory infections and a standard laboratory for diagnosis, as well as trained staff and hospital response depends on the degree of risk. The director of Public Health Institute, Silva Bino, said the symptoms so far are the same as the flu. Chief of Infective Diseases Service Nayada Chomo said hospital facilities are ready for any possible cases of the coronavirus-related illness. Border and Migration Director Edward Merkai said measures would be added at all border crossing points. Airport hygiene has been amped up. The foreign minister said that there are 400 Albanians in China who have so far been reported as not infected with the coronavirus. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.